Big game coming up. Detroit Lions coming to Dallas to try to end that home game streak. That's at 5:15 p.m. PST Saturday. And our show is going to kick off 1 hour beforehand. High octane Lions offense. This is what I think the Cowboys have to watch out for the most here. We got Goff, St. Brown, Laporta, Gibbs, Montgomery. I think they all are like pretty electric talents, especially Gibbs has been really turning it on. Laporta's been like that tight end that you wanted. St. Brown is just Mr. Consistency. And Goff I think is the reason they're hot or cold at the end of the day. But he's a, top 10 QB, top 12 QB. And that's what I think they have to worry about, because if they get scoring and we see what is supposed to be the bright point of the Cowboys team, that offense at this point right now, it's that offense, that passing game, if it's sputtering, we're going to have a hard time scoring against the Lions here.
Well, the Lions have been a weird team. They've won a lot of good games, but they've lost some weird ones. Dan Campbell's definitely has this team playing hard. Like, they're not the Detroit Islanders.
Detroit Islanders.
They're not the Detroit Lions that we've seen in the past. Like, they're a football team that's ready to play. They're a team that's going to hit. They're a team that's going to be up to play against the Cowboys. And it's a good test for us. This is a team that arguably could be the 2 seed in the NFC. So we are playing a good football team. They're going to be bringing their A game. Doesn't matter that they've clinched because they're still playing for seeding position. So this is a good test after stuttering against 2 other AFC playoff contenders. We get to meet up with an NFC playoff contender. And again, it would be great if it was I would love for this to actually be a road game, honestly. We know what the Cowboys are when they're at home. And that's all anyone's going to say. If the Cowboys win this game, okay, well, the Cowboys can win at AT&T Stadium. Great. Good for you guys. What can you do in the postseason? So I'm super excited for this game to see us against another good team, a team that can run the football and run the football well. I'd like to see us keep them below 125 yards rushing, because that's going to be the cog that makes the Detroit Lions go. And then we got to make Jared Goff turn the ball over. The Cowboys got to get back on their takeover ways, and we can't be losing the turnover battle.
And take advantage of that holding penalty that we're going to get.
We get one. Yeah. Micah's getting one. I guarantee it. I would guarantee Micah gets one.
That's Utah. A bold prediction. Give him 2.
Hey, but even two would be bold. 1, it's happening.
Yeah.
2 is very, very bold.
What about this?
I mean,
bold?
that might be.
Cracker if you got him.
If you could bet on like some type of DraftKings thing, 2 Micah holds against him, I mean, you might win $1 million.
Oh, the payout would be insane.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the teams here on the premium stats, PFF's premium stats. They're pretty even overall. Cowboys have a 92.7 PFF rating, and the Detroit Lions a 92 rating. But breaking it down to offense and defense, you can see where the differences are. Dallas Cowboys offense 80.2, Detroit Lions 85.3. So a noticeable difference there. Really, it comes down to the pass block. The other metrics are relatively close enough.
Both blockings, actually. Pass block and run block.
Yeah. And then on the defense, the Cowboys really have outperformed Detroit. 84.2 rating for the Boyz defense, although that's down from the 90 that it was at, I believe, a couple of weeks ago. And then 72.6 for Detroit Lions. And again, big differences are the tackling and the coverage. There's big differences down the board, but those are the major differences.
Well, just looking at the offense here, AJ, and you got the pass blocking and the run blocking, and the Cowboys are underwhelming at both.
Very.
And for all of us that have watched every single play by the Dallas Cowboys in 2023, that's the eye test. You can tell that they haven't been good at run blocking. They haven't been very good at pass blocking. Sure, our running backs maybe have made some mistakes with their vision and ran into some guys, but you're not seeing the classic holes that you used to see for Tony Pollard. You watch the Miami game. There was a couple runs for Mostert and a couple for Wilson, I believe, and they had like 5-yard holes. If Tony Pollard gets a 5-yard hole, he's gone.
And I wonder, Smith, like just looking at the year as a whole, Smith has missed some games, both Smiths. And then Martin I know he's playing, but he might be banged up himself a little bit from that injury that put him out, but he, came back and played. But still, he might be a little rough there too. And then, of course, Steele has just been a complete reversal of what he was last year. So our offensive line, which traditionally, say the last 10 years, has been like one of the highlights of the offense, is really banged up. And it's not necessarily surprising when you kind of take the whole year into consideration. Tyler Smith himself has been a big blessing, shifting him to left guard, and I think that's where he's pretty much going to stay. But you can't win games if both your tackles are letting defensive ends get in there, and Dak loses 0.2, 0.5 of a second. That's going to really disrupt their
If your
offense.
two worst players on your full team are your left and right tackle, it's surprising that Dak only got sacked 4 times last week. It really is. And you're going against a Detroit Lions team who hasn't been crazy on defense, which is good for us. And this is the game that we need. We need the Cowboys to get a little bit mojo back, get a little bit of confidence back, and beating a team are the Lions, 11-4? Beating an 11-4 team is going to be right up the alley to doing that.
Yeah, and the Lions also have Aiden Hutchinson. I know he hasn't necessarily been very noisy, but the guy's a big athletic player, and
He doesn't have a lot of sacks, but he has quite a few pressures and hurries. So he's still creating a problem for opposing quarterbacks, regardless.
Yeah, he's the 7th ranked pass rush grade in the NFL, so definitely something to pay attention to.
Who's number 1?
I believe that's Michael Parsons.
The real Lion?
The Lion.
We'll see if they...
I stole that one from
No,
Ultra
Parsons is
Cowboy.
3rd now.
Damn it.
Parsons is 3rd now.
My God.
We got to hear those like slow chants, like he
Micah.
comes in.
Hey, speaking of O-line, and I know this just might not be possible, but, hypothetically, if Smith... What do you do with Tyron Smith if he is banged up but can play? Do you play him these last 2 games, or do you rest him for the playoffs?
If you're asking me, I would play him against Detroit because it's supposedly what he said to media is he feels a lot better with the week's rest. And then regardless of how he feels, you'll know if you can get that 2 seed or not. And if you can't, there's no reason to play him against the Commanders. Let him rest up and get completely healthy and ready to go against Tampa Bay.
But because of that, we don't know what's happening in that Eagles game. If he's healthy, you have to play him, right?
Yeah, against Detroit.
Yeah, against Detroit, you have to. If you think if he's healthy enough, and the doctors clear him, you're risking Dak Prescott if you don't, right? Like, yeah, it would suck to bring Tyron Smith in and get him hurt, but you know what else would suck? Having Chuma in there, miss Hutchinson, even though I think Hutchinson lines up mostly at left defensive end.
Yeah.
But even having him match up against him one time, not pick him up like he missed Bradley Chubb, and having Hutchinson have a clear run at Dak Prescott. So you got to always protect your quarterback's blind side, and the best way to do that is to have Tyron Smith there. And if he's healthy, he's got to play.
Well, do you guys have any matchups that you are looking forward to this week?
EJ, what do you got? What's something that you're looking forward to?
A sneaky good game, or 2 good games really by Jordan Lewis, playing that nickel corner spot. He has a good test this week against one of the best slot corners in the league, in Amon-Ra St. Brown. And then you also draw tight end assignments, and then you're going to be going against Sam Laporta, who is one of the best tight ends in the league already. So I'm really going to be looking at Jordan Lewis to carry, kind of string together a few games of him doing what he's been doing, which is being solid in coverage and coming up and making some really good wrap-up tackles as well.
And then Lewis's PFF grade is kind of skewed because when he first came back from injury, he didn't play great. He was getting burned quite a bit. But you're right. We've been pretty hard on the guy early on in the season. But these last few games, he's definitely looked a lot better. He's been making plays. He's helped in the run support. It'll be interesting to see if the Cowboys can continue that home win streak.
Yes.
Which I fully expect them to. It's a completely different team. And when you get these streaks and you get this, like, the team that's on this streak, this 14 or 15 game streak, whatever it is predominantly this offense. Like this, it's been that offense that's done it, right? Over the last 2 and a bit years. So this team, when they're at home, they feel like they could beat anybody, right? And I fully expect them. I actually could see them blowing out the Lions.
Ultra says the Lions have not been a team with a winning record besides the Chiefs in week 1. Ravens blew them out 38-7.
And
Yeah.
again, I believe the Cowboys can have a similar effect against the Lions.
Here's the thing: is do you think that the Cowboys are a much better team than the Packers and the Bears?
Oh yeah,
And both of those teams beat the Lions.
exactly.
I mean, yes, they're in the division, but it's like the Lions are not. I don't know. I don't understand. Maybe the Lions aren't like a big market team or whatever, but they don't get talked about enough in regards to their stinker games. Like they've had some really bad games and
Yep.
some really bad performances against some teams that the Cowboys would get poo-pooed on for having the same performance.
Right.
Now they have a really good offense, like you guys have mentioned with Brian Johnson. The offensive coordinator for the Lions is very, very creative. So the Cowboys have to game plan for him and what he might do and lining people up in certain positions. Jahmyr Gibbs, even out of the backfield as a running threat or a passing threat. But overall, I think it comes down to, can you protect Dak Prescott enough? Because I feel really good if it's a shootout, the Cowboys have more weapons, or I won't even say more weapons. I just feel more confident that we're not going to drop an egg at home with Dak Prescott if he's protected.
I believe our defense has a better chance to force a mistake from the Lions offense than the Lions defense has to force a
Yeah.
mistake from our offense, if that
That
makes
too.
sense.
Yeah, matchup I'm looking forward to, and I'm going to be wearing his jersey this weekend, is Micah Parsons versus the O-line / Jared Goff. That's who.
Which
I'm
Micah
looking for.
jersey you wearing? Blue?
Yeah, your blue one.
It's blue jerseys this week, isn't
Yeah,
it?
so you can wear your blue Dak.
Bringing out the Tony Romo, the
Yeah.
Reebok Tony Romo.
Ooh,
These last 2 weeks are blues.
I don't know
run
if
it
I
back,
like that.
Romo.
I'm bringing Romo out.